Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Carl's Conversations. I'm so glad that you are here with us. We have a dynamic program for you today. I'm really excited not only for Carl's Conversations, I'm excited for this brother sitting on the other side of the screen. His name is Mr. Ty Cooper, and he's out there in Denver, Colorado. He has a tremendous story to tell. And I'm hoping that as many of you who can and will not only view this, but will also begin to share the broadcast and tag your family and friends. Let somebody know that Carl's Conversations is on and a dynamic story is about to be told. This is really a story of redemption. As you could see from the title of the piece, what was, what is, and what will be. I'm telling you, you're going to be really, really amazed at the story. God bless you, Elisa Middleton, my sister. Let me know if my volume is all right. I'm doing something a little different this evening. I want to make sure you can hear me pretty good. But this is really Ty's story, not to glorify anything negative. Guys like Ty and myself, to a certain extent, we've been there. And when we tell the story, is not to glorify what was. We tell the story to let people know, hey, listen, what you're going through, there is another side to it. And also is a cautionary tale. Is a tale that says you might not want to come this way. You know, like I tell my son one time, you're not made of the same stuff I am. And that's not saying you're lesser than, but you didn't grow up in the same circumstance. And so you might not be able to wiggle out of the stuff I was able to wiggle out of. And I hope you never get into the stuff that I got into. And so we're going to open up. We're going to let Mr. Cooper tell his story. And I told him, I said, look, man, it's your story. I can't tell it like you can. So you just tell it. And so I see that everybody's coming in. I thank God for all of you who are present. You're going to be blown out of your socks with this tremendous story. And I imagine that some of Ty's family and friends are on now. So I'm saying welcome to you. This may be your first time on live with Carl's Conversations. Make sure y'all tag your family and friends. All y'all out there in Denver, let them know that your boy Ty is on and he going to keep it real. All right. And for my folks back here, God bless you, Sister Jessa. Just come on aboard. Now, I'm going to get out of the way for a minute here, and I'm going to let Brother Ty introduce himself to you. Brother Ty, welcome, and please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, my name is Ty Cooper. I'm in Denver, Colorado. I'm 41 years old, and I hope that from my story I could help, bring a little enlightenment or wisdom or help give a little understanding and help people that are in need or in similar situations and try to avoid some of the stuff I went through, because I'm glad I made it through the path, but it was one I probably wouldn't have wanted to choose if I could take it all back, But it started. A mama's boy, grew up with a mom. I was the only child till I was about 7. And my sister came along, and then we got lucky, and my stepdad came along when I was 10. We didn't always have the most money, but we grew up, I was instilled the right qualities. I was loved. Education was put first. Sports was a big thing of mine. Sports kept me out of trouble. And up till my sophomore year in high school, I was in sports. And I ended up tearing my ACL the first game of the season, my sophomore year. So all this time I was avoiding certain temptations. Now they were in my face. And that's when I started making bad decisions. 15 years old, started getting into gangs, got expelled out of school. When you're young, you think you know it all. Was hard-headed, left the house, got kicked out the house. Like I said, got involved in gangs, smoking, drinking, committing crime. By the time I was 18, I got locked up for a robbery that turned into a homicide, and I found myself facing a life sentence. And by the grace of God, I didn't get a life sentence, but I got a lengthy prison sentence. Prison, I wasn't doing no better. I was angry. I was angry at myself for the bad decisions I made. I got good grades in school. I was in sports. I just, like I said, that knee injury put me in a situation to where I just had all this free time and I just made bad decisions at the end of the day. Prison, like I said, it got worse. I was fighting a lot. caught extra time. Prison is like an intense environment, like everything bottled in one from the streets. You check your pistol in prison. So, you got to be ready to do a lot of fighting. I did a lot of fighting, ended up losing a finger, got out, got my finger amputated. Was just involved in a lot of negativity, was my worst enemy, just digging myself in a deeper hole. And it just got to a point to where I was like, damn, I'm either going to die in here if I don't do something to get myself out. I didn't get a life sentence. So I slowly started, recognizing the flaws in my thinking. I had a good support system. Thankfully, my entire prison sentence, that helped. Like, if you got somebody in prison, that support does wonders for them. And I just was able to slowly start making changes. And then you grow up and you realize what you put your family through, what you put your parents through. And you're like, damn, okay, I thought I knew it all, but I kind of feel bad for I had a good stepdad. And I kind of took him through the ringer, put my mom and him in the odds, and was blessed to finally get paroled after a while, and been out here doing the right thing, just learning, blessed to have my freedom, a second chance. I got a family, out here trying to do positive stuff in the community, and just happy to be out. Like I was telling Brother Carl earlier, I'm like, I don't know what I was doing, missing out on all this, all that time I was gone. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Like, it's beautiful out here. It ain't easy, but it's not hard, and it's beautiful. I done took so much, took. Now I'm just out here, just blessed to have a life and just wanting to give. And whether that's sharing my story or giving some time or taking my little girls out to go give some socks and some sandwiches to the homeless, or getting on shows like this. Or I did a speaking engagement with some youth that have been caught with guns. So I just feel like that's an obligation, Like I said, we're not here to glorify. I done been through all the gangs. I tell people everything I wanted to accomplish as a gangster, quote unquote, I accomplished. Now I'm trying to accomplish everything I want to accomplish as a man. So that's where I'm at today. The basis of it, short story, short end of it.
Well, I thank you for that. So this is what I want to ask you. First part of the question is, how long have you been back out on the streets? And for the young people listening in who may be having a issue with, trying to stay right, what was it? Was it a process, or was it a certain thing that made you say, I have to make a change? And when you started making the change, what did you do to stay consistent? One thing I always tell people, anything you do a lot of, you get good at it. If you do a lot of banging, you get good at banging. You know what I mean? If you do a lot of positive, you get good at that. So how long have you been out? What was the turning point? And what are you doing to stay consistent in your freedom and doing positive things?
I've been out for 2.5 years now. And I think the turning point was, like I said, I just got tired. You realize that the hurt you put in your family through, you have losses. I lost my father when I was locked up. I lost my aunt. I lost my grandma. And just the reality of that, there's nothing you can really do for nobody in there. And I deserve better than that personally. I had to love myself and not put myself in them type of situations. And I was raised better than that. And I was selfish, and I just had to make some changes. Like I said, I didn't want to die in there. I seen people die in there, and that was probably my big thing. I was like, you know what? I refuse to die in here. So whatever I got to do to get out, I got to get out to my mom. My mom ended up getting cancer prior to me getting paroled out. And as far as work is probably work. Just waking up, just counting my blessings every day, and work has probably been the main thing to keep me consistent out here, something steady. Then my beautiful family, I got a fiance, I got 4 beautiful stepdaughters. They keep me on my toes, as they should. Just getting into the routine. Like I said, I don't know, they say it takes 28 times to do something for it to become a habit. We're just getting up, just being responsible, working. I guess it's just a different feeling. Like, when you committing crime, you selling dope, you robbing, like that money has a little value to you. Now that I'm working, like these checks got some value to me, and I spend it a little differently, But I think the turning point was just not wanting to, just realizing that I was blessed, seeing a lot of my homies that had the crimes that I had, that had life sentences. I'm like, damn, I got 30 years. I got an opportunity to get out, and then just want more for myself. It just, you reach a low. I don't care what everybody says. You can be the toughest guy in the world, but everybody reaches that low where you're like, you know what? I can't do this no more. something got to change. I worked on my relationship with God, which is important to me. And then I felt like I couldn't just be spitting. I had family looking out, sending me money, writing me letters, and I couldn't continue the same behavior. And that's like spitting in their face. Just because they're going to enable me and take care of me, that doesn't mean that I should still be participating in the negative behaviors I was in. So it was like a combination of all that, but just hitting that point where I was tired. And I deserved more, and I knew what I was capable of doing, and it was better than being in prison. So
That's good stuff. And I appreciate, you pouring out the way you are. This is very helpful to our audience. And I want to encourage the audience, as you're listening, if you have a question for Ty Cooper, please type it into the chat. We'll do our best to answer it. And if we can't answer it here live on the broadcast, we'll get back to you in the chat. And please, we welcome your comments. He's here to hopefully encourage someone who may be on the wrong path to get on the right path. And let me tell you something. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And maybe something that he says here today will help somebody who's leaning into a negative lifestyle. Maybe something that he says today will help you to get on the right track. So once again, I appreciate you. Now, this is what I want to ask you. Of course, maturity does a lot for us. At what point did you feel yourself maturing? And when you see the youngsters now, the ones who are still banging, or maybe just on the wrong path, or even the fellas that you did your dirt with, what is that experience like now that you're on the other side? And people always say, "Man, you got to keep it real." You fronting all this kind of stuff. How do you handle all that? At what point did you see yourself maturing, and how are you handling the people from your past as you try to stay on this positive path?
I think towards the latter end of my prison sentence, like I said, I started maturing and actually taking the necessary steps, not just thinking positively, but backing it up with my actions and my walk. And at the end of the day, if people are really in your corner and they care about you, they're gonna respect the fact that you trying to do something right and living the right way. I've gotten, even since I've been out here, and like I created quite a reputation for myself in the penitentiary system, and did a lot of things that I still might have to deal with to this day. I might see somebody I done had an altercation with, and I got to figure out how I'm gonna deal with that as a new man, as a new person. But that's part of your life. You make decisions. There's always going to be consequences and a reaction to it. But for the most part, like I said, people respect the fact that especially people that have been through that, they're like, okay, they're happy to see that I'm doing something different. They're happy to see that I'm out here positive, living life, doing the right thing. It baffles a lot of them because they just know me from the inside when I was at the peak of my negativity. So they're like, man, you out here, you got family, you working, you ain't back in prison already. I'm like, nah, so it's not easy, but it's not that hard. And if you got your mindset on something, I've always had a strong mind. So if I had my mindset on something, then it was just no choice for me but to do it, no excuses. And it's about who you put yourself around too. A lot of times, especially in the gang scene, you say that you're stuck or you can't get out of it. Like if you really look at it, it's you put yourself in situations by who you're hanging around with. You're not forced to hang around with these people. It's okay to don't make you no less of a man. To be like, you know what? I might want to avoid taking one of them risks going to prison today. I might just want to go home to my family. That don't make you no less of a man. Sometimes the wise decisions are what make you a man. So it's a lot of ego and pride, and when I see the youngsters now, it's just like I kind of see myself in it, but it's a lot worse now with the gun violence. I just I feel bad. I'm like, man, and it's just I see, like I said, I see myself, but it's different now with the social media. Like I said, the gun violence. There's always been gun violence, but it wasn't. You didn't have to worry about kids being scared going to school. I wasn't scared to go to school because of no guns. So it's just sad, and you just kind of see a lot of the things that, like the school system and us as black men, what we need to do to step up to kind of help combat that, So
I feel you. Once again, thank you. We do have a question from the audience. And thank you, Elisa, for the question. She says, what drew you into street life? Was it a sense of belonging? Were you intrigued with gangs and street life? Was it rebellion? Can you answer that for her?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of all that. I like I said, I started getting in trouble and then bumping heads with my mom and my stepdad and thinking that my way was the best way. So I ended up leaving, and then I went to the east side of Denver, and the homies they kind of took me in. I felt like I got that belonging I didn't get at the house. And then, I was in that rebellious stage, a teenager. And I also was intrigued. I avoided that stuff for so long playing sports. But then when I get around the streets, okay, who's this dude with this nice car? Okay, who's this dude with this nice woman? These ladies around. And you get intrigued by it. And I wanted a part of it. I was young. I wanted a part of it. I didn't want to work. Working was, what am I going to work for when I can sell this dope and when I can take somebody else's money? It's just the juvenile thinking is just so flawed when you get into that criminal mind state. But it was a mixture of all three, definitely, most definitely.
One thing I want to ask you is, while you were incarcerated, did you ever get emotional or psychiatric counseling? And I ask because of this. I know a lot of times there's a root cause to negative behavior. There's a root cause to why somebody's angry. There's a root cause to why somebody is violent. There's a root cause to why you're drawn to criminal behavior. All these things. So while you were there, and since you've been out, have you dealt with emotional or psychiatric counseling? And if the answer is yes, what can you say to all the strong brothers who may believe it's a sign of weakness to get help?
Yeah, while I was in prison, I dealt with therapy, mental health counseling. I think it's important. Like I said, it's that doesn't make you weak. Everybody needs some help, and sometimes you don't really know the root of your issues. Sometimes you got to have an outside person talk to you and dig in and help for that light to click. To be like, you know what, damn, maybe I do feel like this because I went through this, and I do counseling once a month out here. Like I said, I don't lost my mom since I've been out, and just being able to, I think I would definitely recommend it to anybody getting out of prison, just as far as a change and dealing with relationships and having to forge yourself back into society. It definitely does not make you no weak person. I used to kind of feel that way, like mental health. I'm not ain't nothing wrong with me. I ain't about to have these people all up in my business. But you get a little older, you're like, you know what? They're there to help us, and it's okay to talk to somebody that's unbiased, that's just there to help you sort through your feelings, sort through the root of your problem. So I see him once a month. Got no issue with that. Shout out to my therapist.
That is great. Let me ask you this. The type of work that you're doing now, and I'm familiar with some of it, but I don't pretend to know all of it. I know you and at least one other, and I want the audience to know this. You're in the streets of Denver, probably some of the same streets that you ran through when you was on the other side of the crime thing, right? I know that you guys are making sure that people have socks, gloves, water. I want you to take some time, if you don't mind, and we talked about what was. Let's talk about what is. What are some of the things that you're doing now? We know that you're working. We know that you're engaged. We know that you have four beautiful stepdaughters that you are mentoring and loving and taking care of. But when it comes to your street ministry, giving back, number one, what are you doing? And then, if you don't mind telling us, what was the mindset? I mean, you could have just stayed out of trouble. You didn't have to go back to the street. What makes you want to go back and do the things that you're doing?
I feel like there's certain, like, Jesus, I grew up in the church. Jesus sought after the sinners, and I feel like there's certain people that I feel obligated, because I wouldn't want nobody to put their family, put their mother, their sister, their significant other, anybody through what I took my family through, being selfish. And I feel like, as a man that made it out of that, I'm obligated to help pull others out of that situation, or at least give them the knowledge. And if they choose to continue to do the same thing, that's on them. But it just, like I said, it's just a need. It's just an obligation to me. It's something I knew I had to do when I got out, and I get a good receptions for it. Sometimes I take my girls out, or sometimes it'd be me and Day Day just giving water out during the summer. people are just appreciative. First they might kind of look like, what's this dude walking up for? Like, how you doing? If they want to talk, tell their story, just let them know there's people out here that care about you. We're here for you. Sometimes it just takes that. It might take one conversation, one good deed. You don't know what could be going on through that other individual's mind. So you might be the catalyst that kind of steers them, and even if it just helps them have a better day. Not saying that might get them off of drugs to get them off the street, but just knowing that somebody got your back, somebody that cares, that kind of goes a long way. Hope goes a long way in the streets. So
amazing. Now, how do you find the people? Are there certain people that you always deal with? Are there certain places that you go to? How do you know who can be helped and maybe who to stay away from?
yeah, I usually I drive down. A lot of the Colfax is a busy street out here. We got a downtown Denver, a lot of homeless and a lot of East Colfax areas I used to run around. Where I kind of go just see people at bus stops, or people. You can kind of get a sense of who's homeless or who's out on their luck. And then 9 times out of 10, everybody's pretty approachable. But if you kind of see something or there might be something a little extra going on, you might be like, you know what, I might pass this for the day. They might got something going on. I'm gonna go ahead and stay out the way for a little bit, but I might reach out to this person over here. So you kind of got to go off your instincts. But like I said, nine out of 10 times, everybody, they might kind of be like, hey, and then they see what you're doing, bring them water and socks, and that you're there and being friendly and smiling to them. Dang, keep your head up. I know it's rough out here, but we got you. We do what we can. We available, So.
Well, let me ask you this. The people that you do help, I know sometimes that water and a pair of socks, it opens up a door. Do you feel comfortable once they gain a little trust in you? Do you feel comfortable talking to them about, making a turn in their life, talking to them about allowing Christ into their life?
Yeah. A lot of times, like I said, they'll be, once they get comfortable with you, they'll kind of be forthcoming with their situation, with their struggles, what they're going through. And that allows me to open the door to kind of, hey, well, I done went through similar stuff. This is what I done. This is what God has done for me, and he's able to do the same for you. Nobody's not worth saving, and no matter how far you've gone down the wrong path, it's never too late to turn around. So.
Okay, now I want to talk about your family, if you don't mind. What is it like for you now that you're free, you're settled, and from everything that I'm hearing, it sounds like you're taking great pride in being that father figure and being the man of the house. What is that like for you when you look back a few years ago and to see that it was a much different situation? What has that transition been like for you?
It's been awesome. Like I knew I wanted to get out and eventually have a family, but thinking about something and actually having it, like not having no biological children on my own and being blessed the opportunity to be a father figure to these beautiful girls, it's just awesome. I love being a dad. You learn about yourself, you learn about they're entertaining, they argue, I got a beautiful wife. It's awesome. That's the only way I could put it. It's awesome. I enjoy it. I enjoy helping with homework and you just kind of understand like, okay, I got a responsibility to kind of raise these, not only help raise these 4 girls, but show them how, how a man's supposed to treat their mom and how they're supposed to be treated. So it's a big responsibility. So it definitely keeps me on my toes and aware of my conduct and what I say and who I bring around. I treat their mother, you know what I mean? So
Here's something I want to ask you real quick. Sorry, but I didn't mean to cut you off. The Ty Cooper, 10 years, 5 years from today, 10 years from today, 20 years from today, what does that man look like and how does he get there?
Hopefully I still got my hairline and not too many grays. We're going to start there, but I plan on leaving. Like I seen something in one of your ministries about the legacy. Like every man wants to leave behind like a legacy. Like I like to expand my family. I like to have raised children, maybe even grandchildren, and had just a profound effect on my kids' lives to where they're able to handle the world and make good decisions and reflect that I had a positive part in their life. I like to, uh, be deeply rooted in community events. I like to eventually, maybe go back to the prisons because I know seeing me back in prisons in street clothes would mess up some of them guys in there because all they remember is just me in there and the rah rah and the craziness. And for them to see me out here and composed and got my life together, it'd be it'd be inspiration. They'd be like, okay, if he did it, they let him out, he did it, I definitely can do it. But like I said, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and I like to have an expanded family. I like to have some type of legacy to where I'm doing things in the community where I've helped change some lives, hopefully, or at least gave people the right knowledge to make the proper choice. Because people get into the streets and they just hear the glorified stuff. They don't hear about, okay, when you go to prison, this is what you're gonna go through. When you go to prison, your girl probably gonna leave you. And when you go to prison, your homies probably gonna tell on you, or you're gonna go through all this alone. So just educating them, and then maybe if I was properly educated about the streets, I might not have made some of the decisions I made. All I heard was good things about it, but I definitely would like to have some type of positive legacy and be in a good place, just stable, just have a decent quality of life, and my girls have a good life and a good education, and just to instill the good things that I do know, instill it on them, and the mistakes that I made, be open about it, and help people learn from it. I feel like that's what growth in life is about. If you ain't willing to help nobody to get to the top or to even avoid some of the pitfalls you made, I feel like you're not being a man. So I just want to be the best man I could be and continue to grow. I'm growing every day. It's a journey. It's been 2.5 years, but I'm still learning about technology, and I still get a little anxiety about certain situations, traffic, and I still still certain things I could work on. But I try to give my best each day.
Now, this is what I really want to ask you. As you're getting the opportunities to speak to people, and being on Carl's Conversation is one of them, how do you find a way to connect with people, especially young people who have been through similar things or are going through it? Now, people don't know Ty is not a small man. All right. If I'm right, I think Ty stands about 6'5", 6'6", somewhere around 240, 250. His face is tatted up. So if you don't know him, even if you do know him from back in the day, it could be an intimidating presence. So as you're connecting with these young people, I don't know how you do it, but also how do you get them to reconcile? I've been through what I've been through. I look like what I look like, but I'm a new man. I hope that makes sense to you.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I get to them really just a simple conversation. Just a lot of times, just asking them stuff, just them letting them seeing that somebody actually cares, and that obviously I could relate. But like, hey, I didn't been through. When somebody can relate to you, it makes you more comfortable to open up to them. So once they see I can kind of relate, and I might have all these little tattoos on my face, but I'm not as intimidating. I'm like, hey, this is what I've been through, and I just kind of try to. I stress the no, I regret. I stress the that it's okay to do things that might not necessarily be popular amongst your peers in the criminal community. It's okay to be like, no, I don't want to go on this ride. It's okay to be your own man. And I try to stress that and the importance of change, and not being scared to make the change. And like I said, our community, we got a big stigma about being man, and this bravo, and this ego and this pride, and a lot of times we might really be. I feel like a lot of mistakes that the youth make are kind of like cries for help. So I feel like that's their way, their mistakes. That's where their way of saying, I need some help. Come help me. They might not say it directly out their mouth. So I just pretty much, I start a little conversation, and just they open up when they see that you can relate to them, and that you're kind of wanting to know about them, and they'll be more apt to talk and just tell their story. And you can learn a lot from listening. Like I said, this is the streets is always going to be the streets now, 20 years ago, 20 years from now, but just the different dynamics and the different things that they go through that I necessarily didn't go through kind of helps me see, okay, well, they might need, the schools might need a little help. They might need some more counselors in the school. And what do I need to do to help try to promote that? You know what I'm saying? But it's just, it makes them feel comfortable just asking them about themselves.
Wonderful. There is a comment here. Elisa, who is also a member of Transition Place, she says, Ty, I don't know you. You know, we're the virtual church. I don't know you. However, I'm very proud of you. May God continue to bless you, your family, and your journey. And I'm feeling the same way. I'm going to let you respond to that. But as you respond to that, I want you to answer this question. For people that are watching and they're saying, man, this dude is in Denver and he's making it happen. And maybe they want to help. So if somebody wants to help Ty Cooper in Denver, Colorado, how can they do that? And I want you to have an opportunity to answer what Elisa just said also.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for being very proud of me. I appreciate it. It makes me feel good, helps motivate me to keep doing what I'm doing. And as far as people helping, I think you just start small. People always think when you got to get involved in stuff, it has to be all the big stuff. The baby steps go a long way, even just maybe looking to see needs of the school or what type of mentorship programs or if people want to get involved in giving out socks and sandwiches, we can link up. I work a lot. I got a family, but I try to make time, when I have extra time. I'm dealing with a knee surgery as well, so I haven't really been able to get out there like I wanted to. But just the biggest thing we could offer is just making ourselves available. That's it. Just that's what I do. I'll pull up, I'll go to some place like, hey, what do you guys need me to do? Whatever I need to do. If I got to be the head today, I'll be the head. If I got to be the big toe today, I'll be the big toe. Whatever I got to do to make things work and to help orchestrate some change. So it's just making yourself available a lot of times. So just make yourself available, and then there's plenty of people that need help. Churches, mentorships, gangs, elderly, children. Like there's just make yourself available. There's a lot of work we can do out here.
That is awesome. And this is Dede hit me up right now. He is looking for the broadcast. So I love that. Now I know you're recuperating. I know you physically you can't get around quite yet as you could because you're still recuperating. If someone wants to reach out to you, say, listen, man, maybe I can't fly you out to Baltimore or the El Paso or the LA, but I like for you to get on a Zoom and talk to my people. Would you be willing to do that?
I most definitely. I'm always willing to do something like that. I feel like that's what I'm here for. I try to whatever extra time I got that's not with family. I always try to make time aside to do the Zoom for the kids, for whatever needs to be. I'm here. I don't mind playing my position and doing what I can to help. I'm open to all of that.
You just said something that's really important. You said play your position. A lot of times people don't want to play if they can't be in charge. You know what I mean? It's got to be my show. It's got to be my way. My heart is really enlightened by your story and by your attitude. I'm really, really encouraged, Ty. And I'm trying to spit no game. This is the real deal. I'm encouraged because it's obvious that there has been a change, and the change is in your heart. And it appears to me that you really, really, really want to do right. If you could talk right now, if some of the brothers that you were locked up with, maybe some of them are still behind bars, but maybe somehow somebody could get this broadcast to them, what would you say to them about down the road?
I'd have to say that, like I say, no matter how far you've gone down the wrong road, it's never too late to turn around. And at the end of the day, it's up to us individually to want that change, to put forth the effort, the consistency, to put good people around you. And like the biggest thing I would say, like we deserve better than the situations we put ourselves in. We're so quick to put ourselves in harm's way in the name of a flag or a gang or a street, you know what I'm saying? And put our bodies at risk, put our freedom at risk, and I just feel like there's another way. You just gotta believe in yourself and you gotta want it. Like you really gotta want it. If you don't want it, if you don't want something better, you're not gonna get nothing better. If you want something better, you're gonna want something better and you're gonna start to deviate from the stuff that you normally do. So there's definitely a way. And don't ever lose hope. That's what I'll tell them. Don't lose hope. There's a way.
I am overwhelmed and amazed. And I know we just kind of did, like a flyover today. There are so many details. Before we get off the air, there's a couple of things I want to do. Uh, I want you to tell people how they can contact you, because if somebody wants to reach out, and I imagine after this somebody probably will, if they want to reach out to you to get you to come speak, whether it be a local thing, somewhere in the Denver, Colorado area, or maybe they want to fly you out to wherever they are, or maybe get on a Zoom or a YouTube live or Facebook live or something like that. How can they reach Mr. Ty Cooper to ask you to come speak or be a part of what they're doing in their community?
They could reach me at Facebook through Ty Cooper, or my email is rtcooper33@gmail.com. I check my emails regularly. I'm good at communication. Somebody reaches out, I usually try to reach back in a timely manner, And like I said, I'm here to play my position, whatever I got to do to help change, and hopefully that could get others to, like I said, even doing something like this is outside of the normal comfort zone, but like it's necessary. Like I feel like it is necessary for the future, for my community. On a selfish point, okay, I'd like to, if I could help the crime rate go down a percentage or two in my community, that makes the chances of me getting victimized less. So just, I feel like on a selfish point, as a community, we should want to do what we got to do to combat the crime rate and the violence, and get to the root of the problems. And like I said, the baby steps, the small steps add up. So
Hey, I appreciate that. Minister Kevin Moore is on with us. He is one of our partners in the morning hour of prayer. He has a tremendous story too. As a matter of fact, one of the things I'm gonna do before this week is over, Minister Moore, me and you're gonna get on the calendar, because you got to come tell your story. Ty, he has asked for your email address, and I'm gonna ask somebody in the audience. I'm gonna ask Ty to say it a couple times, and I want one of y'all to type it into the chat. So, Ty, please tell us your email address and any other information they can contact you.
okay, it is RT Cooper, COOPER 33@gmail.com. RT Cooper 33@gmail.com. And Facebook.
All right. You can find them on Facebook and rtcooper33@gmail.com. Hopefully somebody can type that into the chat. Before we roll, brother, maybe there was something that I did not ask, or as we're talking, you're thinking of something that you did not say. I always like to give my guests an opportunity to address the audience. Anything that you want to get off your chest. Maybe there's a lesson that you need to teach. Whatever it is that you want to say before we get off, I want to give you an opportunity to address the audience.
First and foremost, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the opportunity to tell my story. I'm appreciative for what God has done in my life, and I feel like that important thing for me to express to people is, like, if you're given a chance, a second chance, you have to make the most of it. You have to, like, they're second chances for a reason. They're not third chances, fourth chances. I was given a second chance, and you got to make the best of it, and you got to be able to recognize certain opportunities, and you got to put yourself in a position. You got to change your perspective. Once you change your perspective, you start seeing things differently. You'll move differently. You'll end up at a different place. And like I said, that's my big thing. Just recognize the chances, and monopolize on them.
Amen, brother. Well, I thank you. I think you might know that young lady, Kiki Lewis, who has put your information up there. Thank you, Miss Kiki. I certainly appreciate you. Listen, y'all, it has been a blast to spend this time with Mr. Ty Cooper. Listen, he rocks with us at Transition Place. Through him and Brother Damian Moore, there are Transition Place shirts all throughout Denver, Colorado. And this is not the 2-hour horn, but I want you to know we're not just lip service. We have supported the effort out there by sending water and Gatorade and things like that. And Brother Ty, I want you to know that we're available. I know that you kind of on the bench right now because of that knee. I know you're recuperating. But if there's anything that's needed, anything that Transition Place can do, we will do. And I want to say this to the audience. His information is right here on the screen. That's Ty Cooper's information. Please contact him. If you have heard something in this interview that you think would be useful in your prison ministry, maybe you have an outreach ministry with troubled youth, maybe you have a group of young men who may need to hear a story from somebody who's been there, done that. You may have a gang intervention ministry or something like that. This brother would be a tremendous resource for you. And from the sounds of way that he's fathering those girls, hey, look, you might have to get a girls group together and let Big Ty come on in there and play daddy for a little bit. So, so I just want to say, excuse me, thank you to the audience. Thank you to you, Mr. Ty Cooper, and may God bless you, brother, and may heaven smile upon you. Anything that we can do for you here at Carl's Conversations or at Transition Place, we're all there for it. And I'm gonna give you a last word, and then we out of here.
I appreciate it. Thank you again for having me. God bless everybody. Anybody wants to utilize me or reach out to me, you have my information. I'm good at reaching back out to people, and I definitely have a desire to do what I can to help, maybe not change lives, but at least enlighten and give the knowledge so, they can make a better decision based off that. And once again, thank you. I love all my people, man. I'm here for y'all.
All right, everybody. You heard it from Mr. Ty Cooper himself, and I got a sneaky suspicion that this won't be the last time that he's on Carl's Conversations. I'm so impressed. And listen, y'all, he said that he ain't all that good with technology, and this is out of the box. Could y'all tell he was uncomfortable? I couldn't. So I'm going to invite him back. I want to do some ministry things with him. He has asked me to keep him busy in ministry. And so I'm making it known to all of y'all. So I got to do it. I'm a man of my word. So we're going to do our best to keep him busy. There's a few things I'm going to offer to plug Ty into, because his story is tremendous and it needs to be shared. So listen, until next time, and we are going to have Minister Kevin Moore up here. I got some other things for you on Carl's Conversations. Keep an ear to the street. You'll see the notifications. Minister Moore, I'll be contacting you this week, sir. We're going to set something up. Until next time, remember, Carl's Conversations is the safe place to have difficult conversations. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.